Imagine sitting alone at 2 a.m. when an emergency alert forces its way onto your screen. It doesn't warn of a storm or a localized threat. It delivers a single, inexplicable instruction: stay inside, do not look outside. The broadcast stutters across every device in the apartment, feeling like a mechanical error in the fabric of the night. Late at night, intense focus pushes our senses toward their functional limits. Players staring at screens for consecutive hours frequently report sudden auditory anomalies or catching long, shadowy figures darting quickly past the edge of their peripheral vision. These modern internet mysteries mirror a much older phenomenon. In the 1970s, the UFO community became obsessed with missing time, cases where people arrived at a destination only to realize several hours had vanished from the clock. They describe what ufologists call a jump location. The driver remembers passing a specific mile marker, and in the very next conscious second, they are pulling into their driveway miles away, with zero memory of the physical space in between. While these sudden jumps feel like deliberate cuts in the architecture of the universe, they are actually well-documented symptoms of a universal cognitive breakdown. You don't need a midnight highway or an alien encounter to experience this. During the early months of the COVID-19 pandemic, millions of people experienced a massive collective onset of missing time. The psychological boundary between a Tuesday and a Saturday became indistinguishable. People reported periods of deep disorientation, where a single week felt like a decade, yet an entire month vanished in a matter of seconds. We are taught to view time as an absolute physical law, a rigid, unmoving track that we constantly travel forward along. But time is a fragile metric, actively generated by the brain. When subjected to collective trauma and routine disruption, that internal clock fragments. To understand how this breaks, we have to look at the two distinct ways the brain processes time. It measures the present through prospective timing, and it calculates the past through retrospective timing. Your brain relies on prospective timing, emitting a steady, rhythmic internal pulse to feel the minutes ticking by. But high cognitive load maxes out processing capacity. Heavy chunks of focus block that rhythm. You skip counting pulses, and your perception of time leaps forward. When a strict deadline forces your attention directly onto the clock, the effect reverses. This interface is the pin code cracker used in academic studies to measure mental workload. Researchers found that when a strict countdown is visibly enforced, participants become hyper-aware of their internal pulses, stretching the experience so that the seconds feel agonizingly slow. Time flies, or crawls, strictly based on how much mental bandwidth you have left to listen to your own internal metronome. That explains the immediate sensation of time flying, but the macro-level blur of the pandemic requires the second model, retrospective timing. When calculating time over the last month, the brain looks backward and counts contextual changes. It scans for novel events encoded in your memory, a trip to a new city, an unusual conversation, or a sudden shift in routine. Extreme social isolation and monotonous daily routines starve the brain of this required input. Without a change in context, the brain simply stops recording the data required to mark the passage of time. Psychologists refer to this state as temporal disintegration. It is the breakdown of sequential thinking caused by a lack of novel information. Without fresh memories to act as mile markers, the brain can no longer reconstruct the past. Months disappear into a featureless blur because your mind failed to encode any data to prove they happened. This academic science explains the opening mysteries: UFO abductions and midnight drivers. Staring down an endless, monotonous stream of headlights induces a state of heavy dissociation. To save mental resources, the brain stops encoding conscious memory. Jumping locations with zero memory of the journey is the brain executing an energy-saving mode. It is a passive biological failure to record the mundane reality of the road. There is a final mechanism at play here, known as the Zeigarnik effect. This principle dictates that unresolved tasks and open mental loops dominate our attention, causing our perception of time to stretch. Deep psychological distress and trauma act as massive unresolved tasks. They weigh down the cognitive system, warping how a person experiences their daily reality. Hallucinations, time blurs, and missing time are indicators that the brain's processing threshold has been crossed. These temporal glitches are the measurable evidence of systemic overload. They occur when cognitive capacity is breached, routines have become too monotonous, or stress has exceeded the brain's ability to maintain a continuous narrative. The next time your reality glitches, or an hour vanishes from the clock, recognize it for what it is. It isn't an external threat, it's the tangible limit of your mental bandwidth. Stop looking outside and look inward at the load you carry.